It's yours. You got it. It's yours. Have to get got it first here. I got to give you permission. Hang on. Hello, everyone. Give me just a second. I'm doing my chores here. I missed some of them tonight. Make host allow. Okay, there we go. You should be able to hit it again. Hit close. Now hit it again. There we go. We're good. All right. Let me minimize this page.
Pause recording.
Huh?
Pause recording.
Yeah, it's because you got your mouse over there. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Technical difficulties tonight. I'm Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we're going to continue our study of the Urantia Book. We got a new paper, paper 39, and that starts on page 426.1 of the original Urantia Book. And I'm going to say a couple comments about this paper. Let's say a little prayer first, and then I'll make some comments. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for opening our hearts and minds that we might remember some of this and share it with others. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for the freedom in this country to serve and to be able to tell what we think and let people know we love you, we love your son, we love our creative mother spirit, and we appreciate their coming to this world that we might have life. We say this in the name of your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, I have to give a warning at the beginning of this paper. Let me tell you why. This paper has a lot of sections. It's divided up in a lot of sections. You don't realize it until you get into it, but it is very difficult to keep it all straight. And I'm going to try to present it in such a way that you can keep it straight in your mind. But before we start, I would like to show y'all something on the paper itself. You can see on, it says Seraphic Hosts, paper 39, right? Under the very first section, it's talking about all the seraphic host, all the types of seraphim. And there's 7 types main heading of seraphim, and it's listed there, okay? Under each one of these, there are 7 sections with the exception of the seraphim of the future, which it doesn't tell us a lot about, okay? Because that's the future. So all 6 of the first ones are divided into 7 different categories under each one of these headings. Okay, so for instance, under the Supreme Seraphim, there's 7 types of Supreme Seraphim. Okay, under the Superior Seraphim, there's 7 types of Superior Seraphim. Okay, and everybody comes up with the first question right off the bat: which one of these become our guardians of destiny, our guardians angels, right? I mean, wouldn't that be something you'd want to know? Well, I'm going to answer your question right off the bat. Any or all of them. Okay, so any type, any one of these seraphim can become a guardian seraphim if they qualify. Okay, and the way many of them qualify is they become they become a seraphim under one of these categories over a period of time. So for instance, a Supreme Seraphim can become a Superior Seraphim, a Supervisor Seraphim, Administrator, Planetary Helper, etc. They can switch jobs. So when these seraphim are created, they're created uniquely as seraphim for that heading. Okay, but through education, they can switch and go through all 7 of these types of seraphim headings. Okay, and any one of them can qualify as a guardian of destiny, a seraphim that's assigned to a human being. Now, let me mention this too before we get started on this. Each one of these seraphim on all the different categories under each one are unique. In other words, they have their own personality. So when they're created for a specific job. but through their own educational system, they can learn how to do all the jobs, every single one of them. Okay, so by doing that, it gives them experience. It gives them a better chance of being assigned as a guardian of destiny. Okay, so once you understand that, you kind of understand why they're talking about all these different types of seraphim, right? So all of them can become guardian angels at some point. All right, so let's get into it. And if y'all start to get confused about any of this, stop me and ask questions, because that's what we're doing this for. Okay. I'm disappointed I don't see Melly, because I got her new address. I sent it to her. I hope she knows how to connect. Yeah, Gary.
I have to leave you. I've got severe back problems right now and I can't last much longer.
Longer? Okay.
I've got to leave you. I've got problems. Okay.
That's fine, Gary. You can listen to it later online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take care, Gary.
Take care. Sorry you're having problems.
okay.
We'll see you next time. Okay. If
Yeah.
you get feeling better, just pop back in.
All
Okay.
right.
I'm Florida next week, so if I pop in, it'll be from Florida.
All
I hope
right.
to.
We
Yeah.
love you, Gary.
All right. Take care of yourself, Gary. All right. Okay. So let's get started. Superior Seraphic Hosts. So let's start with number one. And under number one, let's go ahead and do the list too. So you want to start, Gary? Sure. You have your piece on? Unmute yourself. You're unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as we are cognizant, the infinite spirit, as personalized on the local universe headquarters, intends to produce uniformly perfect seraphim. But for some unknown reason, these seraphic offspring are very diverse. This diversity may be a result of the unknown interposition of evolving experiential deity. If so, we cannot prove it, but we do observe that when seraphim have been subjected to educational tests and training discipline, they unfailingly and distinctly classify into the following 7 groups.
Go ahead and read the groups.
1, Supreme Seraphim. 2, Superior Seraphim. 3, Supervisor Seraphim. 4, Administrator Seraphim. 5, Planetary Helpers. 6, Transition Ministers. 7, Seraphic of the Future.
Seraphim of the future.
What did I say?
Seraphic.
The last one, darn it.
Yeah.
7, Seraphim of the Future.
And just so everybody knows at home when you're watching this video, Diane's video malfunctioned at the beginning of the video, and I couldn't figure it out to get it fixed. So
Yeah, but I'm okay.
you can see her picture. All right. The seraphim, what they're telling us here on the seraphim, when they are created, they're created perfectly uniform, but because they think of the evolving experiential deity, which is what? God the Supreme, right? They think because of the evolution of the Supreme that they all come out diverse or different, every single one of them different from another. Okay. And they think it's because of the experience of the Supreme, but they can't prove it. All right. And so what they do is when they come out, they're assigned as a specific group, but they go through testing and an education to be trained to do the other jobs. So for instance, if a supervisor seraphim is created a supervisor seraphim, he could take classes and be tested and become a superior seraphim or even a supreme seraphim. So when you see this group, you can't think of one type of seraphim being higher than another. They're all equal, okay, all the way across the board. So they're not on top of one another. You could think of them as being on the same level all the way across, regardless of what job they're doing. Okay, so that's good to know, because you would think that one is higher than the other, but they're not. Okay, and this is a little picture. It shows the different types of seraphim, and I'm going to enlarge this just a bit more so you can kind of read these sub things. We have the Supreme Seraphim, and they're closely associated with the Seraphic core of completion, and we're going to talk about this completely. The Seraphic core of completion we can think of as equivalent to the finaliters. Okay, so if the seraphim goes all the way up to paradise, finishes, gets embraced by the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit, then they become part of the seraphic core of completion, and you can think of them as kind of equal to finaliters. Okay, so that all seraphim want to be able to do that at some time. And then we have the superior seraphim, and these are the seraphim of Salvington, our local universe headquarters, and they report to Salvington. Then we have the supervisor seraphim, and they're stationed at the constellation headquarters. Okay, and then we have the administrator seraphim, and they are stationed at the system headquarters. So you can see how it goes right down the line. Then we have the planetary helpers, and these are not only stationed at the system capital, but they also help the planetary atoms. Okay, and then the transition ministers actually minister to all the inhabited worlds, and they work on the mansion worlds as well. Okay, and then the seraphim of the future, they don't tell us a lot about, but they're out there. And these are seraphim that will be used on different types of planets, and when we reach light and life, apparently. Okay. All right, that's a big introduction.
That's a big one.
Tonight, wasn't it? This whole paper is going to be like this, so it'll take us several times to get through all this. Okay, Jane, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. To say that any one seraphim is inferior to an angel of any other group would hardly be true. Nevertheless, every angel is at first service limited to the group of original and inherent classification. My seraphic associate in preparation of this statement, Manosia, is a supreme seraphim and at one time functioned only as a supreme seraphim. By application and devoted service, she has, one by one, achieved all 7 of the seraphic services, having functioned in well nigh every avenue of activity open to a seraphim, and now holds the commission of Associate Chief of Seraphim on Urantia.
So Manosia is the associate chief of all the seraphim on Urantia right now. Interesting thing to mention here is this: we know that seraphim always work in pairs, don't we? Right? These angels always work in pairs. So in the statement of this paragraph, the person that's relating this is relating to what? There's Mildred. Y'all hang on. Hello. Hey, Melly. It won't let you in. Yeah, we're going right now, but it should let you in if you got the right code. You got the new code, right? That I sent you email for, right? Okay, go out to your email, that new email you sent me, and click on the link of the email, because you're trying to use the old code and that will not work on the new. Yeah, I can give you the old code. Hang on just 1 second. Excuse me, everybody, just a second. Or the new code. No. Got a pen, Millie? It's 847 0419 2237. And the passcode is 377433. Right. Yes, I know. I changed it. Okay, we'll see you when you come in. All right. Bye-bye.
Start over.
Yeah. I must have clicked on the audio here. Okay. Did y'all hear that, or could I just hear it?
Oh, I heard.
Oh, did you? Okay. Okay, so the interesting point I was trying to make was we know that they travel in pairs. So when the seraphim that's relating the story is the pair probably for the Menosha, who is the Supreme Seraphim. Make sense?
Mhm.
Unless, all right, I state that, unless in certain cases, they're allowed to work separately. You see what I'm saying? But normally they always work in pairs, but I wanted to bring that up. So Menosha should have a mate of some kind that is there with her all the time, even though she's the chief of Seraphim on Urantia.
But they didn't reveal that.
They didn't reveal that though, but I wanted to mention that because I think it's important. We look at all aspects of this. All right, so it does state here too that Menosha has achieved all 7 of the seraphic services and acted in each one of those. So in essence, she probably has gone all the way to paradise and become part of the seraphic corps too, right? And then came back for service, which kind of gives us an idea how it works. Okay, Rodney, would you take the next one?
Yes. Human beings sometimes find it hard to understand.
There it is. There she is.
Hey, Millie.
There she is.
Hey, Millie.
Hey, Millie.
Okay,
I can't hear you, Millie.
why?
There
There
we
we
go. We can hear you. We can hear you now.
I was,
Okay.
I was talking to myself saying, okay,
Okay.
got the window, got volume, got,
Yeah, you're
Video.
good to go. Yeah, just use that new link, the email link I sent out to you for the next time. Okay. So that it's got a new code and a new passcode. Because what happened is on our very last meeting, I forgot to extend it past that. So I had to start all over again for a bunch more weeks. You know,
well,
I
I've
am.
just had so many new things coming at me that I'm getting confused. I'm getting very, very confused. Like, my computer got hacked and I had to take it to the Geek Squad and have it there.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
I have had my email has been Miss Millie at Bell South for years and years and years. Well, Bell
Yeah.
South went south. So
Yeah.
then I had email. I didn't
Yeah.
know how to do it, but my daughter came on last Saturday, and she set me up with a Gmail.
Yeah.
And I can't get Miss Millie. It has to be my whole, we tried all kinds of things. It's just my
Yeah,
whole name.
don't tell your whole email because we're recording. It's gonna go out there, then you'll have to do it all over again. So, it's like saying, well, here's the keys to the city. My email's out there everywhere, but I expect to have it. I got pretty good stuff. We lost Millie.
Oh, darn.
You never know. Okay, Rodney, take back over.
Okay. Human beings sometimes find it hard to understand that a created capacity for higher level ministry does not necessarily imply ability to function on relatively lower service levels. Man begins life as a helpless infant. Hence, every mortal attainment must embrace all experiential prerequisites.
That's right.
Seraphim have no such pre-adult life, no childhood. They
There
are,
she's back.
however, experiential creatures. And by experience and through additional education, they can augment their divine and inherent endowment of ability by the experiential acquirement of functional skill in one or more of the seraphic services.
Okay, so when seraphim are created and they awaken, it's just like they just were born as an adult. What could you akin this to? I can think of it this way. I had to have a colonoscopy this week, and when they put you to sleep, okay, they inject the stuff. Within a second, you're gone. You have no recollection of anything. And when they wake you up, it's like you're a new person, right? You don't remember going to sleep. You don't remember the time while you're out. But when you come back, you have all your skills back. You can talk and do all that thing. And that's probably kind of the way the seraphim feel when they wake up as a new seraphim. But it's interesting, if you think about it, they compare this to us. And we are born into the world and we have no skills whatsoever, right? We have to learn to talk. We have to learn to breathe. We have to learn to get fed. Now, all these things we have to learn from the start. The seraphim are born with certain skills innately, just like the birds and the bees and everything else. They innately know how to do certain things, but they have no past history of a childhood. So they have no past memory of anything, right? So they start with a blank slate and the skills they're born with, right? So yeah. So you're blank and then you start filling up this brain full of stuff, right? And it's interesting is when they're created, they have the requirements of the job they're created for. Only one, right? So if they're created a superior or supreme seraphim, they have the job skills for a supreme seraphim, one of the 7 sets. Right. So if they're created as a supreme seraphim, they may be created as one of these 7 different subdivisions under supreme seraphim. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So they may be born as a sun minister. They could be born as a bestowal attendant. They could be born as a court advisor. There's there's 7 different jobs they can be born as, right? And when they do, they have all the skills they need for that particular job and nothing else. Okay, so any job outside of that, they have to be trained, just like we are. Okay, so if you think about it, when we die and we go to the mansion worlds, what's the first job we have to take? Think about it. When you wake up on the mansion worlds, you don't know nothing, do you? You have your experience from Earth. You remember all your experience from Earth, but guess how many people get there with no information that we're learning right now from the Urantia book? Majority of them, isn't it? So they have to start at square one, being trained just exactly like the seraphim. Right? So what do they have to do? They have to go to classes on who God the Father is, who God the Son is, who God the Spirit is, right? They have to go to classes on the local universe stuff. They have to go to classes on all the cosmology. They have to go to classes on all of our history that they've been taught wrong down through the centuries, right? So they start like babes again, if you think about it. So what do you think we're going to be doing?
We're going to be very humble.
We're going to be humble for one, because we'll see where everyone is starting out. But guess what our jobs are going to be?
Helping them to learn, teaching them.
That's exactly right. So y'all are on
to get them where we are.
Yeah.
All those Baptists who think Jesus is the only Son of God.
Right.
Yes.
How
You'll have
how you going to tell a dyed-in-the-wool Baptist about that?
Yeah. Listen, that was me at one time, Millie. And I had this nice little hippie guy sit down with me in the beaches of Key West over and over and over again to get these concepts out of my head, because I'd been indoctrinated in them. I thought that was the way of the world, right? We will be doing the same thing. So we are not only going to be humbled by the fact that we don't know anything either, okay, in the first place, but we still have to train those coming behind us and the things we do know, right?
Are they gonna hate us for a while? Or?
They're probably going to say, where did they get this stuff at? You know? So that's what y'all are going to be doing, just let you know. So you'll be doing what I do every Tuesday and Thursday night, right, for a while, you know? So get ready for it. It's coming. Okay, so that's how the Seraphim start out with no history and no childhood. Okay, they're kind of blank slates.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Right? Okay, let's go on. Millie, I think you're there where you're next, and you don't even know where we're at. We're on 39011, which is 420, page 42611. After being commissioned. That's right.
After being commissioned, seraphim are assigned to the reserves of their interest groups, inherent groups.
Inherently.
Those of planetary and administrative status often serve for long periods as originally classified, but the higher the inherent function level, the more persistently do the angelic ministers seek assignment to the lower orders of universe service. Especially do they desire assignment to the reserves of the planetary helpers. And if successful, they enroll in the celestial schools attached to the headquarters of the planetary prince of some evolutionary world. Here they begin to study of the language, history, and local habits of the races of mankind. Seraphim must acquire knowledge and gain experience, much as do human beings. They are not far removed from you in certain personality attributes, but they all crave to start at the bottom on the lowest possible level of ministry. Thus may they hope to achieve the highest possible level of experiential destiny.
Okay, so what does this mean? You know, all these paragraphs are just full of information if you read into them a little bit. First, at the planetary prince headquarters of any world, that includes ours, they train the seraphim that are assigned to the planets. Okay, so what does that mean on this planet? That means somewhere on this planet, even though the regime of the planetary prince faltered on this planet, there's still a headquarters on this planet somewhere, right? So somewhere on this planet is a facility to train the angels, right? And we know that there's an archangel headquarters here somewhere, right? So it's probably closely attached to the archangel headquarters, more than likely.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? That means there's either a Urantia or a spiritual material building on this planet that we cannot see and we do not know about. Okay, so think of it this way. You could be out, you know, they speculated once that the archangel headquarters may be out in the redwoods somewhere, right? They actually had Urantia meetings out there a couple times. If that's the case, you could walk up to the training schools of the angels or the archangel headquarters, either one. You could walk right through it and never know you were in it, because we don't see that level of reality. We can't see it, we can't feel it, we can't touch it, right? So you can walk right through the wall, walk right through a class for angels and never know you've been there.
Why would the Urantia group go out there to have their meetings then?
I think some of the Urantia group people wanted to be close to the archangel headquarters. And that's why they had a couple meetings out there at the redwoods themselves. Okay, because that's where it was rumored that the headquarters were at that time. Now, this is all secondhand information that's not in the Urantia book. Okay, so you know, you can take it or leave it. Yeah, Rodney.
Could it be at Antarctica?
It could be. We don't know. They may mention exactly where it is, like it is in the redwood somewhere in the book, but I don't remember off the top of my head. I've only read the book about 60 times, so you know.
Just didn't catch.
It didn't sink in, obviously, you know. So, but there is a headquarters here somewhere. So it's kind of interesting that that they're here and we don't know it, right? Because we know there's a celestial organization for that replaced the planetary prince headquarters on this planet. We know that for a fact. So it's out there somewhere. All right, so let's go to the.
We know there's a lot of things here that we don't know about.
That's
that
right.
We can't see and can't
can't
interact
see.
with. There's
Yeah,
just
because it's on a different.
tons of stuff here.
level.
They're in the room with me, in the room with you.
Yeah, yeah. There is. All right, we could have a half a dozen seraphim sitting around us right now, laughing at us, you know, yeah. Enjoying the humor. You know, these guys don't know anything. All right, let's go on to the next one, the Supreme Seraphim. This is the first of the groups. I've talked about all these seraphim and we haven't even got into the first group yet. So let's get into the first group. Let's see. Diane, would you take that first section and the first thing there, both of those?
One, Supreme Seraphim. These seraphim are the highest of the 7 revealed orders of local universe angels. They function in 7 groups, each of which is closely associated with the angelic ministers of the Seraphic core of completion. 1, Sun Spirit Ministers. The first group of the Supreme Seraphim are assigned to the service of the high suns and spirit origin beings resident and functioning in the local universe. This group of angelic ministers also serve the universe sun and the universe spirit and are closely affiliated with the intelligence core of the bright and morning star, the universe chief executive of the united wills of the creator sun and the creative mother, a creative spirit, excuse me.
Okay, so this first group, the Sun Spirit Ministers, they're Supreme Seraphim, and they're the part of the intelligence core of Michael and the local universe Mother Spirit. Okay, so they are the angels that would take messages back and forth from the sun to Gabriel, and from Gabriel back to the sun, or the spirit and Gabriel and so forth. So these are the angels that's assigned to do that. Okay, and they're called the Sun Spirit Ministers because that's all they do. That's their job, is to relay information back and forth, right? All right, let's go on with the next one. Jane, I think you're up next.
Okay, being of assignment to the high suns and spirits, these seraphim are naturally associated with the far-flung services of the Paradise Avanals, the divine offspring of the eternal Sun and the infinite Spirit. The Paradise Avanals are always attended on all magisterial and bestowal missions by this high and experienced order of seraphim, who are at such times devoted to organizing and administering the special work connected with the termination of one planetary dispensation and the inauguration of a new age. But they are not concerned in the work of adjudication, which might be incidental to such a change in dispensation.
Okay, so these are the angels that are assigned to take information from the sun, Michael, and the local universe Mother Spirit to the assigned Paradise Avonals that come as magistrates to the planet, right? So they would relay information to the Avonal sun or the magisterial sun while they're on their mission on the planet. Okay, and that not only includes magisterial missions that would be incarnations, but it's also magisterial missions that have to do with adjudication. We know about every 1,000 years that the sleeping survivors are adjudicated, and that is done by the coming of a magisterial son. Okay, so they're assigned to help them out. Okay, and then we have the next section, which is going to bring this together even more. These are all still the same type of beings, the Supreme Seraphim. Okay, so let's go into the, actually, let me get in here reading since we only got 5 of us tonight. Bestowal Attendants, Paradise Avonals, but not Creator Son. These are basically avonal or magisterial sons that come down for bestowals. When on a bestowal mission, are always accompanied by a corps of the 144 bestowal attendants. These 144 angels are the chiefs of all other sun spirit ministers who may be associated with a bestowal mission. So they're in charge. There might possibly be legions of angels subject to the command of an incarnated Son of God on a planetary bestowal. This is what Jesus was talking about. Remember this? You know, he could call legions of angels, right?
Lovely.
Yeah. But all these seraphim would be organized and directed by the 144 bestowal attendants. High orders of angels, Supernaphim and Sekanaphim, might also form a part of the attending host. And though their missions are distinct from those of the seraphim, all these activities would be coordinated by the bestowal attendants. So even though there's a higher level angel, the Supernaphims and the Sekanaphims that come down on these bestowals, they are still under the direction, if you would, or coordination of these bestowal attendants. So they kind of run things for everything during the bestowal. All right, so this shows a picture of the bestowal attendants and the Supernaphim and Sekanaphim, and they all come down to help the avonal son or the magisterial son during their missions. Okay, so they're assigned to him, just like Jesus was assigned to all these angels, so are the avonal or the magisterial sons, right? Okay, so that's a lot of personnel that's assigned for any of these missions. Rodney, would you take the next one?
Sure, that you guys still there? The
Yeah.
number 144 is, I think, Jehovah Witness.
Yeah, that's where the Jehovah Witness get through. There's only going to be 144 humans in heaven, right? That'd be a lot of people missing out. Right.
Okay,
It's funny how we take these numbers and we interpret it in different ways from the Bible, and they got the idea that there were only 144 humans that would be going to heaven. So heaven's going to be pretty sparse, isn't it? You have to think about it.
So these bestowal attendants are completion seraphim. They have all traversed the circles of
Seraphington, right.
And have attained the seraphic core of completion. And they have been further especially trained to meet the difficulties and to cope with the emergencies associated with the bestowals of the sons of God for the advancement of the children of time. Such seraphim have all achieved paradise and the personal embrace of the second source and center, the eternal Son.
Okay, so what does this mean? This means that the seraphim, all these angels that are assigned to this, all of them, have gone through the entire process of going all the way up to Seraphington and going to paradise. Okay, they finished the whole trip before they're assigned out back down. Okay, so these are angels that have been embraced by the second source and center, the Son of God. Okay, and when they're finished, and they become part of the seraphic core of completion. Now, in another place, it talks about when they attain Seraphington, they are embraced by the infinite spirit as well. Okay, so they're really embraced by both. All right, so they have gone through the entire process they would be, as we would consider, finalitors at this point, and then they're assigned back down. Make sense? So they've had a lot of experience when they get here.
They're created from the infinite spirit,
No, they're created by the local universe mother spirit.
mother spirit,
They're seraphim.
universe.
Huh?
So they advance of each universe.
Yeah, they go through the entire the local universe first, Rodney, then they advance on to Uversa and
Okay.
on through Havona and on to paradise, just like we do. Okay, but and we stop on the way up after we hit Havona. We stop at Ascendington, don't we? Because we're ascending sons of God. The angels start at Seraphington, stop
Correct.
at Seraphington because they're seraphim, right? So it's a different pathway. And they
So-
become finalitors in the sense by become part of the seraphic core of completion.
Okay, I understand.
No? Got it? See how this is so involved? This is a hard paper to get through.
A lot of information.
It's a lot of information. And if you're going to understand it properly, you really you need to understand each and every paragraph and what they're alluding to, because they allude to a lot of different things in each paragraph, right? So if you don't have that understanding of what they're talking about, it's gobbledygook, right? As Millie said years and years ago, that sounds like gobbledygook to me, because it's the understanding of it that makes it clear, right?
Yes.
It does. All right. So let's go on to the next one. Did I skip over somebody? I skipped over.
I just-
Oh, they rearranged my screen, didn't they? Okay, Millie, would you take the next one?
Yes. Seraphim equally crave assignment to the missions of the incarnate sons and attachment as destiny guardians to the mortals of the realm. The latter is the surest seraphic passport to paradise, while the bestowal attendants have achieved the highest social universe service, local universe service of the completion seraphim of paradise attainment.
So even though they go all the way through that, they still want to be assigned as what? Guardian Seraphim. Because that's the lowest experience, right? They can gain the most experience by being assigned as guardians of destiny.
The least of
Okay,
these will be the highest. Yeah,
that's right.
they keep wanting to go back to the bottom and start over and gain
Yeah.
more stars in their crown.
That's right. More experience. That's what it's all about, right? It's hard for us to understand, but our trip when we get to the mansion worlds is all about what?
Service.
Service and experience, right? We gain experience by serving. And by serving, we help one another and we become what? Part of the fatherhood of God, the brotherhood of man, right? Same thing. Okay, court advisors. Diane, would you take that one?
2, court advisors. These are the seraphic advisors and helpers attached to all orders of adjudication, from the conciliators up to the highest tribunals of the realm. It is not the purpose of such tribunals to determine punitive sentences, but rather to adjudicate honest differences of opinion and to decree the everlasting survival of ascending mortals. Herein lies the duty of the court advisors, to see that all charges against mortal creatures are stated in justice and adjudicated in mercy. In this work, they are closely associated with the high commissioners, spirit-fused ascendants, mortals serving in the local universe.
Okay, so they're associated with the spirit-fused ascendant mortals who become high commissioners. Okay, but the important part of this is this. They are, as court advisors, they take up the charge of defending mortals all the way up in misunderstandings between each other and all this stuff. So their job is not to justify your life in this life. Okay, that's not their job. What they do is, when you get to the mansion worlds, you're going to have misunderstandings, with other types of beings that you don't understand. You will make mistakes. And what these court advisors do is make sure that you understand what the mistake was, and then they defend you to make sure that the opinions that are rendered against you or for you are fair. Okay, so they make sure you have mercy, you get mercy in everything you do. Now, keep this in mind. When they do this, they try to make a situation where every human being or every type of creature has the opportunity to make the ascension plan and get to God the Father. That's why they do it this way. Okay, so their goal is to make sure you stay on track all the way through the process, and that when you have misunderstandings, it's straightened out so that you don't fall into rebellion. That's what the number one thing you can't do. Now, what is the only sin to God? Because this becomes important here.
Not
To
Rebellion.
deny,
Huh?
to deny him.
Deny him, that's rebellion, right? That's the only real sin. All the other little things we do wrong are what? Mistakes. Okay? And we got to remember that. As long as you don't rebel against God or God's Son, you're not rebelling, are you? You're making mistakes, and they try to straighten out these mistakes so you understand. So I want to give you an example of this so that you get an idea of what adjudication is when you die. Okay? Let's say I go out tomorrow and I murder somebody. I kill somebody. Okay? Does that mean I'm going to end up in hell? No. Does that mean I'm going to be wiped out? No, not necessarily, right? That would be considered a sin of man, wouldn't it? Okay, we're sinning against each other. We're taking a life away from somebody else, which is not good, right? So their job in this case would be to what? Correct us, correct our thinking, make sure that we never do it again, type thing. That's what mercy is about. So just because you have created sins against one another on this world doesn't necessarily mean that the life force is going to be taken out of you and you cease to exist, does it? Because there's no sin that you can create on this planet that is not forgivable. That's all there is to it. Now, that does not mean that the sins of this world are not horrible. They are, right? It's something we don't ever want to get in the habit of doing to one another. So the more perfect we can become in this world, the more along the lines of the will of God we will be, right? So when your angel has to go to the system capital and through reflectivity defend you to the ancients of days, they got something to work with, right? Because that's what has to happen. You won't be awake, you won't be there, right? But your angels will be awake, and they will be there, and they'll be trying to justify your life and make sure that you're considered salvageable, right? Now, are there people that aren't salvageable? Yes. Can you decide not to go on past this life in this world? Yes. It's all about free will. It's decision, right? Okay. So I think I beat that to death. So we know what these beings do. Jane, would you take the next one, please?
The Seraphic Court advisors serve extensively as defenders of mortals. Not that there ever exists any disposition to be unfair to the lowly creatures of the realms, but while justice demands the adjudication of every default in the climb towards divine perfection, mercy requires that every such misstep be fairly adjudged in accordance with the creature nature and the divine purpose. These angels are the exponents and exemplification of the element of mercy inherent in divine justice, of fairness based on the knowledge of the underlying facts of personal motives and racial tendencies.
Okay, so do you see it here? It says adjudication of every default in the climb towards perfection. You see that? So
Yep.
every time you default in your job, every time you do something against somebody else, and every time you do something that's not appropriate for the universe, you have to be adjudicated to correct these bad things, right? And that's not just on this planet. That is continues on when you get to the mansion worlds, go to the constellations, go to the local system, everything, right? So anytime you misstep, you have to be adjudicated, and that's where these court advisors come in and help defend you, right? And make sure that you're given opportunity to rectify whatever it is that you did wrong, right?
So
We're
they speak,
talking here about the Seraphim.
Pardon me, Millie, you say that again?
All of this is about the Seraphim.
All of this is about the Seraphim. These are
They have a-
Seraphim that
They
do this.
have a hard job.
they have a lot of hard jobs. They really do. They really do. You get out of the idea that the Seraphim, the angels, are just hanging around taking care of us and doing nothing else. They do multiple jobs, right?
Well,
Not only that, but each one of these types of angels have staff beneath them that help them, right? So there's millions and millions of jobs they don't tell us about in the Urantia book because it'd take too much time, right? Be too big. But these are the main things that helps mortals go through the ascension plan and be justified to stand before God the Father. And God the Father saying, well done, my good and faithful servant, right? It takes work. Nothing is easy, right? If life were easy, it wouldn't be life. That's just all there was to it. Okay, because we wouldn't learn anything. So these seraphic court advisors are all about what? Mercy, right? They're mercy angels in the sense, because they make sure that we have mercy and justice on everything we do, regardless of our personal motives or our racial background and tendencies. Okay, so that's for all the races. All right. Let's see here. Jane just read again. I guess I'm up again, huh? All right. This order of angels serves from the councils of the planetary princes to the highest tribunals of the local universe, while their associates of the seraphic core of completion function in the higher realms of Orvanton, even to the courts of the ancients of days on Uversa. So the ones that don't have as much experience would be what? Assigned to the planetary princes so they can gain experience. But the higher ones that's already gained that experience, the ones that's finished the core of completion, would be assigned to the higher realms of the local universe, like Orvanton, and even to the courts of the ancients of days on Uversa to defend us as we go through Uversa. Okay, so it works all the way up. Even though they're created as local seraphim, they go all the way up with us, right? Can't get the idea they're just local universe angels. All right, let's see. Millie, would you take the next one? Universe orientators.
Universe orientators. They are the true friends and postgraduate counselors of all those ascending creatures who are pausing for the last time on Salvington in their universe of origin as they stand on the brink of the spirit adventure stretching out before them in the vast super universe of Orvanton. And at such a time, many an ascender has a feeling which mortals could understand only by comparison with the human emotions of nostalgia. Behind lie the realms of achievement, realms grown familiar by long service and Urantia attainment, ahead lies the challenging and mystery of a greater and vaster universe.
So in essence, these seraphim are in charge of getting us ready to step out as first stage spirits into the universe, right, from Salvington. So you could think of them as the tutors for the larger universe, right, getting us prepared, right, to step out. All right, let's see if we can get 2 more paragraphs at 6:55, and then we'll stop at the teaching counselors. Rodney, would you take the next one? It is the task.
Yeah. It is the task of the universe orientators to facilitate the passage of the ascending pilgrims from the attained to the unattained level of universe service, to help these pilgrims in making those kaleidoscopic adjustments in the comprehension of meanings and values inherent in the realization that a first stage spirit being stands not at the end and climax of the local universe Urantia ascent, but rather at the very bottom of the long ladder of spiritual ascent to the Universal Father on Paradise.
So they help us get our comprehension of the meanings and values that we need to go on to the big universe, right?
Sounds like they put us in our place.
That's right. Diane, would you take the last one for me there?
Many of the
Seraphington graduates.
Many of the Seraphicton graduates, members of the Seraphic Corps of Completion, who are associated with these seraphim, engage in extensive teaching in certain Salvington schools concerned with the preparation of the creatures of Nebadon for the relationships of the next universe age.
So many of the graduates of the Seraphic Corps of Completion help these beings to train us to go out into the universe and our relationships that we'll have when we leave Nebadon, right? All right, and we'll take it up at teaching counselors next time. All right, so let's have a little prayer, and we will quit for tonight, and we'll take it up from there next time. Melly, would you like to pray for us tonight and close us?
No, I really can't. Thank
Okay,
you.
well, that's fine. How about you, Rodney? Would you like to pray for us?
Can I please pass?
Okay.
I will. I will.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for your kindness to us and your guidance with this book. We are grateful that we could gather together here and study this book. We are grateful for the work that went into this book and all the beings that helped put this book together. We are grateful for our existence on this planet, and please guide us so that we don't just rip it apart. We're pleased to be living in this country that is an experiment for you, an experiment for us. Please help us see it to a fruitful end. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Millie.
Yes, very good, Melly. And thank everyone out in Facebook land that's listening tonight. Let's shut this down tonight at Facebook, and that way people can watch it. All right, and stop my recording.
I did not want